Welcome back to Football Daily, where today we've made a team of the biggest transfers of this January window. Goalkeeper, Kiko Casilla. Okay, so we may have spoken about him last week, but seeing as no other high-profile goalkeepers made a move in January, we've got to stick with Kiko Casilla. The Spanish international has swapped the Champions League for the Championship after his free transfer from Real Madrid to Leeds United. Now on paper it may seem a peculiar move, but it does make perfect sense. The 32-year-old had slipped to third-choice stopper at the Bernabeu following the summer acquisition of Thibaut Courtois after already being in Keylor Navas' shadow. In truth, his move back to his first professional club in 2014 was an odd one, considering he went from first choice at Espanyol to playing in less than 20% of Real's league fixtures. Debuting against Rotherham for the Whites, Casilla is hoping to stack up the clean sheets and help his new boss Marcelo Bielsa achieve promotion and see Premier League football played at Elland Road for the first time since 2004. This signing shows the pedigree of Bielsa off the pitch and the type of players he could attract to Yorkshire. There's exciting times to come for both Casilla and the Leeds United fans with him at the helm. Defender Jason Murillo. Barcelona have made some strange transfers in recent seasons. Thomas Vermaelen 5 years ago, Paulinho 2 years ago, and then this window saw the equally eyebrow-raising additions of Jason Murillo and Kevin Prince Boateng. The former was picked up on loan from Valencia, whom the Colombian only joined permanently last summer. The Blaugrana do need the depth. Gerard Piqué and Clement Longley are their main starters, while Samuel Ntiti is only just resuming training after 2 months out with a knee injury. The only other option is the aforementioned Vermaelen, and we all know about his reliability issues. But 26-year-old Murillo will need to get up to speed as he has only 2 appearances this season, one of them being infamous as he became the victim of Cristiano Ronaldo's hair-pulling incident that saw the Juve man sent off. The centre-back, who has been sent out on loan by every single club he's played for, could cost Barcelona €25 million should they choose to exercise their option to buy, which might actually seem a reasonable fee in the current climate for a Champions League defender. However, with their current talent as well as the deadline day acquisition of highly rated 19-year-old Jean-Claire Todibo from Toulouse, you probably wouldn't put your money on it, although this is Barcelona we're talking about. Defender Mehdi Benatia. Following what seems to be more of a trend in past windows, Mehdi Benatia has chosen for the next step of his career to take place in the Middle East, signing for Qatari champions Al Duhail. The fee paid to Juventus was a mere €8 million, making you wonder why the likes of Arsenal and Man United didn't propose a deal so the Moroccan could fix their ailing defences. Despite being just a bit-part player for the old lady since his arrival in 2016, Benatia's performances have been impressively consistent. In Serie A this season, he has averaged 1.4 tackles a game, which is more than both Bonucci and Chiellini. He also made 3.2 interceptions every 90 minutes, which not only tops the Juve squad, but is double what any other player achieved up until his departure. It seems odd that Juventus would be happy to let the 31-year-old go, ahead of a Champions League knockout run in which Max Allegri looks to finally bring club football's biggest trophy back to Turin. Martin Caceres was signed to replace him, but the Uruguayan is not only older than Benatia, he's also not featured in 20 league games in a single campaign since 2011-12. As well loved as Caceres is by the fans, many would have preferred Benatia to stay instead. Defender Chris Mepham. Having been after him for the last few windows, Bournemouth boss Eddie Howe is understandably delighted to have finally gotten the signature of Chris Mepham. The 21-year-old cost the Cherries £12 million and continues the club's model of buying young and exciting talent, although he may not get into the first team right away as Steve Cook and Nathan Ake are well established in the heart of defence. Whilst at Brentford in the first half of 2018-19, Mepham, who has been capped 4 times by Wales, made 1.6 interceptions a game, which would have been good enough for second best in Bournemouth's side. More impressive than this, though, is the centre-back's passing. For a team stuck in championship purgatory, he was completing upwards of 60 passes each match, with a completion rate of 87%. The ability to pass it out from the back fits right in with Howe's philosophy, and you can see why he was sought after for so long. After seeing the likes of Callum Wilson and David Brooks thrive after making the step up the footballing pyramid, Bournemouth fans will probably be expecting Mepham to have a similar impact over time. And if he puts in the same performances at Dean Court as he did at Griffin Park, there is no doubt he will. Midfielder Miguel Almiron. When the TV rights were sold for over £5 billion in 2015, it's ushered in a new era of financial might for the Premier League. Since then, every club has broken their transfer record, some even more than once, and in a single window. Well, that is every club except Newcastle United, who last broke their record back in 2005 when they spent £16 million on Michael Owen. That was until deadline day, when Ashley blew the dust off his chequebook finally and signed the highly rated Miguel Almiron from MLS side Atlanta United. The 24-year-old starred as the club won the MLS Cup in just their second season, scoring 13 goals and assisting 11 more in the process. Now, we're not saying that where he was playing is comparable to where he is now, but 4.1 shots, 2.4 dribbles and 2.3 key passes each match far exceeds anything anyone on the Toon has been achieving. Almiron, capped 12 times by Paraguay, contributed to a goal every 135 minutes for the Five Stripes, something he's sure he can replicate on British shores and that Rafa Benitez, who wanted him so badly, needs him to if the Magpies are to beat the drop this campaign. Midfielder Youri Tielemans. If you were told to think of a player who'd amassed 250 professional appearances, had a big money move to a top 5 league champion and came third at the World Cup, the name that comes to mind probably wouldn't be Youri Tielemans. At the age of just 21, the Belgian international has achieved all of that and is now off on loan to Leicester City, with Adrien Silva going in the other direction. Despite being one of just 2 players to have found the net more than once in Ligue 1 for Monaco this season at the time of writing, the other being Falcao, Tielemans was allowed to leave by Leonardo Jardim. Despite being first name on the team sheet under Thierry Henry, the youngster was only a rotation option under Jardim last season, and with Fabregas and now Silva in Monte Carlo, he was set to slip further down the order. Now taking his place in the Premier League, Tielemans will be looking to recapture that form that saw Monaco pay €25 million for him in 2017. And at the club that has given players under the age of 22 the most minutes so far this season, he'll definitely get his opportunity. Midfielder Leandro Paredes. Going into the last week of the January 29 transfer window, Thomas Tuchel was pulling out what little hair he had left. Injuries to Neymar and Verratti had left PSG, in his own words, desperate for players, with an all-important Champions League tie against Man United fast approaching. Within 48 hours, the much-talked-about transfer of Leandro Paredes from Zenit was finally complete, and PSG had their hands on what esteemed German journalist Lars Pollmann described as the perfect Tuchel player. It's not difficult to see why. Having missed out on De Jong and with Rabiot's contract expiring in June, the Parisians badly needed midfield recruitments, especially with Marquinhos being forced to play 45% of his games there this season. The 24-year-old DM Paredes has returned to Western European soil for the first time since 16-17 when he represented Roma. That year, he played 27 Serie A games and averaged an impressive 1.6 key passes, 1.1 shots, and 3.2 tackles and interceptions per 90 from the base of midfield. An excellent passer, it's great to see Paredes back amongst the elite. But having fought off the attentions of Chelsea, the pressure is certainly on the new £39 million man's shoulders. Midfielder Lucas Paqueta. Just 21 years old, Lucas Paqueta is part of a new generation of talented Brazilian footballers beginning to emerge alongside the likes of Vinicius Jr., Rodrigo and Everton. Already capped twice by Brazil, manager Tite enthused about his performance in a friendly against El Salvador, claiming that Paqueta linked up with Neymar like they had their eyes closed. High praise indeed, but despite a host of top clubs interested in him, it was Milan who bit the €35 million bullet, making him their joint 5th most expensive transfer of all time last month, alongside Piontek and Caldara. It's easy to see why they were convinced. During the 2018 season, just his second in senior football, Paqueta's 10 goals and 1 assist helped Flamengo to second in the Brazilian Serie A. And his underlying statistics were exceptional, marrying 2.3 shots and 1.1 key passes with 3.6 tackles and interceptions per 90, playing as an 8 or a number 10. In his 238 minutes of Serie A action so far, he has already averaged 0.6 expected goals per 90. With the likes of Donnarumma, Calabria, Caldara, Kessié, Paqueta, Suso, Piontek and Cutrone, AC Milan now have a vintage crop of young talent, all 25 or under. Could Paqueta be the key to their long-awaited return to domestic glory? Let us know in the comments below. Forward Christian Pulisic. The world of football sat up and took notice when just 2 days into the January window, Chelsea announced they had secured the services of 20-year-old Dortmund forward Christian Pulisic from next season. Fending off interest from Liverpool and Arsenal, the Blues have signed a 23-capped US international who has 12 goals and 16 assists to his name in 108 Dortmund appearances since his senior debut under Tuchel in 2015. The fee, which is the 3rd largest received by a Bundesliga club in history, might seem a little steep for a man that has only contributed 4 goals in 17 appearances in 18-19. But after the emergence of Sancho and Brun Larsen this campaign, 8 of those have been from the bench. With Willian and Pedro both the wrong side of 30 and the future of Hudson-Odoi uncertain, securing the services of a man who contributed 0.5 expected goals and assists per 90 as an 18-year-old seems like a good idea. Give him the game time, continue to coach him, and Pulisic will likely deliver. A good move for both parties. Forward, Michy Batshuayi. It's fair to say Michy Batshuayi's 18-19 season hasn't worked out quite as he planned. After spending the back half of the 17-18 campaign on loan at Borussia Dortmund, where he netted 9 goals at an average of a goal every 129 minutes, he returned to Chelsea full of confidence. Instead, 41 days later he was farmed out again, this time to Valencia. Playing in an underperforming side that won just 3 of their opening 16 league games, Marcelino gave the frontman just 868 minutes to prove himself, and he responded with just 2 goals. Batshuayi was simply failing to get himself into good positions, firing off just 2.9 shots per 90, the lowest of his career to date, with over 40% of them coming from outside the box. This ensured that his expected goals per 90 dropped dramatically from 0.6 in Germany to just 0.3 in Spain. Come January, the loan was terminated, and after Chelsea refused to loan him to Spurs, Crystal Palace entered the race, securing his services until the end of the season. Signing a player who has averaged 120 minutes per goal contribution over the last 3 seasons is a massive coup for a side with the 4th fewest goals in the division. And let's not even get started about Christian Benteke. Forward, Mario Balotelli. 28-year-old Mario Balotelli joined the 7th club of his 12-year professional career last month, Marseille. His time at his previous employers Nice was decidedly mixed. He scored 33 goals in the 51 games prior to this season, and his lethal partnership with Alassane Player was the key reason behind their 3rd and 8th placed finishes. But when Player moved on to Borussia Mönchengladbach last summer, Balotelli angled for a move only to be left disappointed. With a virtually non-existent relationship with new manager Patrick Vieira, the 36-capped Italy international failed to shine, with just a solitary assist to show for over 750 league-earned matches. Aware of his unstable temperament and unpredictability, Marseille wisely signed him on a 6-month contract, minimising risk and maximising reward. And so far so good, with Balotelli scoring 2 in 3 since joining the club. Despite his much publicised issues, Super Mario still averages a goal contribution every 0.5 games over the last 9 years. With the fervent Lom support behind him, surely Rudy Garcia can extract more from the man as they attempt to climb the table. So that was our 11 of the biggest transfers from this January, but what did you all think? Let us know in the comments below, and maybe we could even do a part 2. If you enjoyed this, why not click on the video on screen right now, because I'm sure it's an absolute banger. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you next time.